Hey everyone, ahlan wa sahlan fikum and welcome to Palestine. It's winter here in Ramallah, and you know what that means? Rain! Winter in Palestine is practically the only time of year that it rains, and when it does, it rains a lot. In fact, Ramallah gets more annual rainfall than London on average, all packed into a few cold, humid months. In a region like this, water is an absolutely essential resource. Fortunately, with all this rain, the West Bank must have plenty of water to go around, right? Well, let me show you something. Alright, I'm here on the roof of my building in Ramallah, and do you notice anything about the buildings around me? Yep, water tanks. Tons and tons and tons and tons of water tanks, all over Ramallah and all over the West Bank. You see, despite all this water, there's actually a water shortage in the West Bank. According to the World Health Organization, every person should have at least 100 liters of water per day at their disposal. But Palestinians in the West Bank only have about 70. So where does all that extra water go? Let's go find out. Okay, so I got a map of the occupied West Bank. This entire area actually sits on top of a huge underground reservoir fed by the winter rains. Like all other major water sources in the West Bank though, the Israelis have complete control over the West Bank reservoir, and they determine how much of it Palestinians get to use. And the answer is very little. Take a look at this. We're here in Ramallah, and these are illegal Israeli settlements, and they need water. Lots and lots of water. So much water that the Israeli state steals 80% of the water from the West Bank reservoir, mostly to serve the settlements. That's why Palestinians in the West Bank only get about 70 liters of water per day, while Israeli settlers get about 300, 3 times more than the WHO standard. Not only that, but the Israeli state doesn't approve the construction of any new Palestinian wells in the West Bank aquifer and regularly demolishes water-related structures like wells and pipes all over the West Bank. Oh, and it gets worse. By stealing most of the water from the West Bank aquifer and sabotaging Palestinian water infrastructure, the Palestinian Authority is forced to buy the water back from the Israelis or have nothing to provide at all. And it's still barely enough. I said Palestinians get 70 liters of water per day, but that's on average. In fact, water only runs in the West Bank for 3 or 4 days a week, and only for a day or two during the summer. And that's why we have so many water tanks in the West Bank, to fill and store water for use when the system is off. You'll never see them in the settlements though, because they get water 24/7. And that, my friends, is how water tanks in the West Bank turned into a clear indicator of Israeli apartheid hidden in plain sight. So much water that the Israeli state steals 80% of the water from the... What?